Hey, Kermit Weeks here out of Fantasy of Flight. We got a beautiful morning. I'm going to go test fly the Curtiss Robin. This airplane was donated by a really good friend of mine, Henry Haig. I used to fly competition aerobatics with him. We had a few problems when I tried to hop it before. The airspeed indicator didn't work. There was a little bug in the pitot tube. We had a coolant leak, a very small fuel leak. We got them all fixed. Let's go check it out. It's a beautiful restoration. We had to go through and do some engine work on it to get it up to snuff. It sat for a long time. When we went to start the engine, we found out there was a lot of problems. We completely went through the engine, kind of took it apart and found a lot of things wrong, so it was great that we did. The coolant tubes had corroded. It's a liquid cooled engine. There were some leaks and stuff. We had some oil leaks, so we went ahead and topped the whole engine. This is an OX5 engine, and it's the same engine that powered the famous Curtiss Jenny in World War I. This airplane would have been about probably 1927 or something. So they were using these old surplus engines. It's only 90 horsepower, and you can really tell when you push that throttle in there, it barely starts moving. I made a couple of hops with it down the runway the last time we played with it, but I've never actually had it above the trees and had to make it turn and come back, so we'll see how it goes. Well, the tack doesn't seem to work. The oil pressure gauge doesn't seem to work. The reason there doesn't seem like it's getting any airspeed is the airplane doesn't go anywhere. Interesting. Kind of scary, actually. Yeah, well, anyway, that was interesting. I had 1350 for static, you know, so that was good. So I felt, you know, okay, I got enough power to take off. That's what I remember from the Jenny. And it's only 50 below the red line. So anyway, so I went ahead and took off. I'm like, when is this thing going to get airborne? You know, I mean, it was just like, I'm like, and then it was almost, now I'm freaking committed. And as long as I knew I could make it over the trees, I knew I could go far enough out and turn at some point, you know. So anyway, so slowly climbed up. And then at some point, the oil pressure gauge, which was great, it was running about 55, the red line's like 65, you know, then all of a sudden it just started bouncing like this. But it appeared the middle of the bounce was probably about 75 or so. So I don't know if the oil pressure gauge is something wrong with it or whatever, but it's bouncing. Maybe there's an air bubble or something. But at the same time, it was still, the average was above the red line. The coolant, when I started cruising, it started dropping. That was comforting. And when I was climbing, I kept climbing at full throttle, which was like 1350 was kind of what I was getting, just like on takeoff. But still, it took forever to get the airspeed indicator going. I mean, forever. I'm like, I finally, by the time I was airborne, I reconciled myself that it wasn't working. Then it slowly started picking up. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This thing isn't even moving. It felt like I was mushing, okay? So I climbed up, and you know, once I got into kind of cruise, the temperature on the radiator dropped. I brought the throttle back, and I thought, well, probably about 12, maybe 1150 or something like that. 12. So 1200 felt about good, but then all of a sudden, it started dropping from 1200. I started pushing the throttle. I got full freaking throttle. I couldn't get 1350, so the tach's wrong. And it didn't sound, the airspeed was indicating that I wasn't getting any more RPM. So I'm thinking the engine's lunching itself. So check for metal and stuff, because I just don't know what I was, you know, it's not, there's no way in hell you'd fly with 2 people in this thing on a hot day. We're full fuel. Anyway.
Yeah, and you don't have full fuel.
Yeah, it flew. So, okay, so the fuel's off, and the mags are off. That's it. So, all right. Well, anyway, successful test flight.
The other side's coming off too.
Yeah, really. And, well, it's the blistering speed with which it warps through the air.
Yeah.